What's going on, Shield Brothers and Shield Maidens? I'm True for Shield's Rest, and today I want to talk about Critical Role's update that they just put out in their State of the Role. So let's get into it. If you're new to the channel, consider subscribing because we have so much content out there for Daggerheart and DC20. We're doing D&D, we're getting into Genesis System with Star Wars, we're getting into Lancer now. Love that. So just saying, we're doing about 2 videos a week right now. So consider subscribing and let's get into the video. All right, y'all. I'm going to get into the prediction for Campaign 4 after I get into these updates that they put out, because these updates are pretty cool, actually. But I think I'm in the right ballpark for Campaign 4. I'm just saying. I feel like I'm in the right area, but we'll see. So, Campaign 3. Let's start off with that update. 6th February is when they are going to have their campaign finale. And it's going to be 8.5 hours long, which is wild. I mean, that is a full-on workday right there. So, I think they're going to be pretty loopy towards the end of it, towards maybe halfway, 3/4 of the way through, they're going to be super loopy. So that's got to be really good. But more to the point, my hope for this kind of campaign finale here, especially with it being 8.5 hours long, is that they really do wrap up the Mighty Nine, Vox Machina, and Hell's Bells really well. I'm hoping that they wrap it all together rather nicely and put a bow on it, set it off to the side, and that way we have a nice closure on this timeline, in terms of like this period of time within Exandria. Because really and truly, I'm hoping that leads into my prediction here for Campaign 4. That's what I'm hoping for. But at any rate, so getting into 13th February, they're starting to do another Exandria Unlimited mini campaign here called Divergence. And this is after the gods have left, when they've created that barrier and have left Exandria. And now the mortal races of the world are now having to deal with picking up the pieces and dealing with everything that's been left behind, essentially, is what they're dealing with. So I love that, and I think that's going to be very interesting. So, especially because, let's face it, Brendan Lee Mulligan is coming back for this. Cannot wait. Matt's going to be a player again, which is just even better. So, looking forward to that for sure. But on 13 March, and this is what's going to give me, this is what's helping me with my prediction for Campaign 4 here. 13 March is their campaign wrap-up for everything, for all 3 campaigns, even the Exandria Unlimited stuff. So they're going to be doing a whole Q&A sort of situation. Mind you, they're going to be taking primarily questions from their Beacon members, so if you're that, then great. And I think we're going to get a lot of cool things out of that too. But really and truly, what I care about most is this Campaign 4 coming up. Because part of all of these little predictions that I have here is going to be, it's going to be Daggerheart. I feel like it's got to be Daggerheart. And I think they're going to time it, of course, with the release of the official rulebook. I think we all kind of have that thought in mind, right? But I see this happening in probably about April, if not May. I'm thinking May, like early May, late April, but that's when I think that they're actually going to start their campaign, most likely May. I think Matt's going to probably take a little bit of time here to get everything set up properly. I don't think they're getting away from Exandria. I think they're getting into what he's been mentioning for a bit now, especially within Daggerheart, which is Age of Umbra. Age of Umbra has been something he's been talking about for a while. And I see them playing within that. Why else would he be working on it so fervently if they're not about to get into that for their next campaign? First and foremost. Secondly, I also believe this is either going to be after Divergence, because it's a dark time, and about 100 years after Divergence, right? Because he talks about that with the Age of Umbra, that it's 100 years after the gods have left and everything, right? So it kind of makes sense that it'd be after Divergence, because the gods have left the world and it's a dark, scary place. That's got to be the Age of Umbra. You know what I mean? That's my thought process. Because now Vox Machina, Mighty Nine, Bells, Hells, and all that are not even going to be a factor in this. Okay? So if anyone was annoyed with them coming in Campaign 3 with the other teams, you're probably not going to have to worry about that now, right? If you liked it, again, you're not going to have, that's not going to be a possibility now. But I think we're going to get a lot of very interesting things that allow us to kind of backtrack a little bit, like getting the prequels almost, where we get some very interesting things that we probably, at least for the prequels, we didn't appreciate it in Star Wars. But anyways, for this, I think we would appreciate something like Age of Umbra and what he's kind of set up basically for what goes into those campaigns. Campaign 1, 2, and 3. I think he's setting that up in a sense and trying to connect everything together so we get a window into the past and not in a mini campaign sort of situation, in a more day-to-day life and the way that these cultures have come up. Because if you've seen essentially the history that he's done on Exandria, you'll see that he talks about all these different cultures that pop up and then the calamity happens and then a third of the population is gone. Or is it 2/3 of the population? Something like that, at any rate. Or like a third of the population is left. It's something like that. But anywho, so all of these different cultures had come up, but then the calamity happens and it all goes to hell in a handbasket. Well, 100 years after that, what do we see? What are we dealing with? I think it's going to be the 100 years after Divergence. That's my guess. It's going to be with Daggerheart, and I believe they're probably going to start this up in May. If not June. I think they would go later rather than earlier. But I think they're going to let a lot of the orders go out for Daggerheart and get the official rulebook out there. So when they play it, people can kind of follow along with it, or they can watch it and then order it. That's my prediction. That's my thoughts anyway. So I don't know. Tell me what you guys think. What do you think is going to be the time frame for Campaign 4? When's Campaign 4 coming out? Do you think it's going to be Age of Umbra? Do you think it's going to be something else? Do you think he's going to leave Exandria behind and start something else entirely? I don't think he will because, it's his baby. You don't want to just lose the thing that you've been working most of your life for. But at the same time, he might. He might close the final chapter on that and get into something new. Who knows? But he's put a lot of world building into that, so I don't think so. But what do you think? Let me know down below. And if you like the video, smash that like button. And again, consider subscribing. We get into more of this kind of stuff. Not necessarily news-related items. I don't typically do that, but I do like getting into Daggerheart. I love all things Daggerheart, all things Critical Role, so we're here for it. But until the next one, keep that shield wall strong.